My name is Jacob Arabine. I'm a private detective. I'm investigating the case that is known as the Freddy's Pizzeria disappearances. Even though nothing was ever recovered from the investigation a couple of years ago, however, the parents and relatives of these children have come to me in need of my abilities. I, myself, do not blame them for coming here and asking me to look into it. I have to admit that Freddy's Pizzeria always gave me a chilling feeling in my spine whenever I drove past it in my car, glancing at its bold, innocent, but yet disturbing lettering at the front spelling Freddy's Pizzeria. Children started to disappear in the local neighborhood. No disturbing noises were ever reported. In fact, in all cases, the parents of the kidnapped children had no idea their child was taken from them until the next morning. Also, in all cases, all the children that had went missing had gone to Freddy's Pizzeria the same day they were kidnapped. This was pretty much all the police investigators had on Freddy's Pizzeria, as nothing else was discovered when police arrived to investigate. There was no putrid smell of rotting corpses. Thank God. I mean, for Christ's sake, they're only children. Nothing was broken in the room that may have been caused in a struggle or fight. No blood was ever found, no locks of hairs, nothing. My face was not recognized by Freddy's Pizzeria. I have never been inside. It's those damn mechanical animals that get me. They seem to be alive, but yet dead inside. Something that lives with no soul, just hollow. Their eyes scanned every nook and cranny of the room they had entered with a slow, disturbing twist of their heads. I've always hated things like that, but I'm a man now. I should not let my child fears cause me any discomfort. Knowing that staff or its security cameras have not seen my face, I thought it would be best to go undercover this time. It was an effective but risky way to get evidence or to catch one of the staff members red-handed. It just so happens that Freddy's Pizzeria is looking for staff for the night shift. It seemed like it was the only place available, and I don't think many would apply for the job, especially if it's night shift. The place is creepy even during the day, and it also says, not responsible for any personal injury or dismemberment. So I decided to apply for the job and go undercover. Not long after that day, I was accepted. What a shocker. The only thing now was to pass the interview. Piece of cake. I've been in much higher pressured interviews than the likes of this one. When I went for the interview, I knew I would have to go inside that building. That building which looked at me every time I drove past it, or mocked me if I only had enough courage to even glance at it for a second. My reason for only giving a glance was I was on the road. I didn't want to cause an accident over a childish fear. But the truth was, I was terrified of the place, and thought that when I looked away from it, it would change into this building from hell that would rip the souls of anyone who dared tread on its despicable land. The inside seemed innocent enough that with bright colors suited for children and with many pictures of the robots designed to look like characters on the billboards. Each of the characters had a name. There was Foxy, who looked like a rabid fox with piercing eyes. He was the thinnest of all characters, and looked like he hadn't belonged in the group of happy characters. He looked rather sad, actually. Something was wrong with Foxy, though. He wasn't operating correctly, and was placed out of order. He was set in Pirate's Cove, while the rest of them were put in a separate room. Foxy also had this rusty crooked claw of a pirate, where his hand should be. It didn't seem safe for children to go near Foxy, as his teeth looked razor sharp, and may cause severe damage. Then there was Freddy the bear, obviously the main character of the place, since it was named after him. He was short, but had watchful eyes you could not escape from. His teeth were spread apart, and the teeth looked so... I was impressed by the detail that was put into them. Chica the chicken was the one I hated the most. She had bulging eyes that watched you like Freddy's, but with more of a murderous look to them. Her jaw was broken, causing it to fall to her neck and hang from one side, which was still under repair. I heard about the chicken's jaw outside of Freddy's Pizzeria months ago. Why haven't they fixed it yet? After all this time? It made no sense. Chica was the most disturbing looking one out of all the characters, especially with her jaw having a set of teeth and the top not having a single tooth. Then, finally, there was Bonnie, the bunny. Bonnie was the largest out of all the characters. He had teeth like Freddy's, piercing eyes like Foxy's, but less psychopathic looking. Bonnie was also large like Chica, but he filled out more around the legs and arms than Chica did. Bonnie had pointed ears that just missed the height of the doors. He seemed to be the most active out of all the characters. The thing that was unusual about him, that stood out more than anything else, was that he was colored an indigo color rather than a classic white with a pink stomach and nose. Bonnie was colored indigo, his stomach was still pink, but his nose was black, charcoal black. As I went through the place, the staff looked at me as if they pitied me, as they already knew that Freddy's Pizzeria only needed a night shift person and no one else. They gave me a glance of sympathy until I made it to the interview room. It was quiet and lonely. It felt like years had passed, until finally I was called into the room for my interview. As I had expected, I passed the interview with flying colors and was ready to go undercover. I was given my uniform and a badge and was ready to go into my new temporary job. The uniform was tacky. The top was colored a sickly yellow that reminded me of Chica, with a picture of all the characters from Freddy's Pizzeria. Also with a purple badge that displayed my name with a cheesy cliche, "Hello, my name is." As if I was incapable of introducing myself. As I drove to work around 11:30 p.m., I felt slightly disturbed and nervous all of a sudden. I hated the look of Freddy's Pizzeria. There was no question about that. It made me feel sick at times whenever I saw it. I would often sigh in relief as I drove past it, as if I had overcome a great fear. It was just a building though. Why would a building of Freddy's Pizzeria get to me so much? I couldn't explain it, but my real job depended on going inside and finding something to add to the police evidence. As I made it to the front door of Freddy's Pizzeria, its cheesy signs and billboards displaying characters towering above me, the terrible blend of colors of the door and window panes staring back at me once more, I saw the last of the staff members, excluding myself, exit the building in a hurry and then slowly walking away, as if she were running away from something inside. She bumped into me and spilled her contents in her bag on the floor and apologized. I helped her pick her things and asked why she was running from the pizza place so quickly. She didn't reply to that question. She was a young, beautiful girl with brown hair with crystal blue clear eyes. Her skin was quite pale, but it suited her well. She was wearing a white shirt with no crease to be seen, and a skirt that went down to her knees. The clothes that she had been wearing gave me the assumption that she worked for a bigger company, and was here to see the manager or something. I hope it was about debt, or something that it hadn't paid, just so it could shut down or something. The woman didn't say anything else and left without saying another word. I simply shrugged it off and went inside. It was very dark inside, so I turned on some of the lights and made my way to my post at the back of the pizza parlor and sat down. The security office had a bunch of old posters of the pizza parlor and a couple of novelty toys. I looked at the security cameras and noticed that I was the only one here. So what was that woman doing here? It was 12 a.m. and the phone rang, making me jump out of my seat as it smashed the silence. I picked up, and on the other side of the phone, a man spoke. "Hello? Hello? I suppose you're the new security guard? He asked, sounding cautious. Yeah, I said stubbornly, nodding my head. Oh, good, yeah. I was the one who worked in the cameras before you, he explained. Sounding more relaxed now that he knew who he was talking to. I glanced at the cameras and saw the characters sitting in a room all together. I knew Foxy was in Pirate Cove behind the curtain so I wouldn't see him. Yeah, okay. Why are you calling me? I asked, getting annoyed. Well, you see, here's the thing, you see those robots on the cameras? The man asked. Yeah, I answered, sounding bored of this discussion. Yeah, keep an eye on them. Something's wrong with their programming, so they might start to wander around the place. And, well, if they see you, you make sure that you're going into the security room or you're inside, and that you shut the doors because, yeah, they'll try to stuff you inside one of the costumes, he explained. So? I said, agitated. Well, right, I know what you're thinking. How can that be bad? Well, you see, it wouldn't, but the costumes they're going to stuff you in are full of wires and metal, so they'll try to push you through that, which can be painful, obviously causing massive injury and a large possibility of death. The man spoke. What? I shouted, astonished, and looked back at the cameras, still seeing all the characters in one camera, where they should be. Also, keep a lookout for Pirate Cove. I know Foxy is under repairs, but he doesn't like it when the cameras are off him for too long. Anyways, enjoy your stay. Also, remember to check out those 2 doors of yours, because the cameras can't see anyone outside your doors, so if you don't see one of them, make sure you check outside with the lights. And be quick about it, because you'll only have a few seconds to respond. And finally, I have to give you the introduction from the company. It's kind of a legal thing. Welcome to Freddy Fazbear's Pizza, a magical place for kids and grown-ups alike, where fantasy and fun comes to life. Fazbear Entertainment is not responsible for damage of property or person. Upon discovery of damage or death has occurred, a missing person report will be filed within 90 days, as soon as property and rooms have been thoroughly cleaned and bleached and the carpets have been replaced, and all that other nonsense. But that's all I got to say to you, pal. Good luck. You're gonna need it. The man sneered and hung up before I could reply. I looked up to the cameras once more, and Bonnie had moved and was not in the camera view. I flicked to the next one, and Bonnie's face was right in the camera, and her eyes had turned jet black. I flicked to the next camera, and Bonnie's face was right in the camera, and his eyes had turned jet black, looking at me straight through the camera.